It is no secret that Americans love their trucks. There is nothing more American than feeding your pet bald eagle a piece of your double cheeseburger with your hand over your heart, saluting the stars and stripes, and listening to your grand old flag on your full-size truck's radio. It's a part of the American experience, darn it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
So on this episode of Toyota History Tuesday, get my hat on because I am ready, we will be talking about the Toyota Tundra. So since we're talking about trucks in general, and we will be talking about the Toyota Tundra, let's start all the way back at the beginning. And when I say the beginning, I mean the beginning. Back when we were just a jumble of colonies and there was some British redcoat butt to kick, 95% of Americans were agricultural farmers or had a farmer's lifestyle. And over 100 years later, in the early 1900s, that number was around 35%. Trucks for agricultural individuals allowed them to transfer more produce further, and seeing that the United States of America is 3.8 million square miles, a lot of times further was extremely helpful to get your produce to market, sell it, and make yourself a profit. Back in the day, if you didn't have yourself a truck, if your mule Jebediah came down with the Appalachian singing sickness, you weren't getting to market that day and you weren't making a profit. So, trucks allowed the American farmer the ability to transfer high payloads further and allowed those individuals to make themselves a larger profit. Especially when the 1950s rolled around and America started paving way more roads, this allowed for even further commutes in even more remote areas. In 1925, only 2% of Americans owned trucks, and that total number of vehicles was around 2.5 million. Now keep that number in mind and compare it to the number of total trucks sold just in the year 2017 alone, and that was 2.8 million. Pretty cool, huh? And when paving all these roads, Americans kept in mind that they needed to have those roads a little bit wider and would pave them with concrete or asphalt, which would be more accommodating rather than a lot of Asian and European counterparts that had cobblestone or brick paved roads. So to this day, United States cities can accommodate having a full-sized pickup maneuver and park even in the most urban of settings. Toyota, of course, was paying attention. So in 1964, Toyota brought their first pickup truck all the way from Asia to be sold on the United States shores. It was called the Toyota Stout. This little sucker in the United States only had a 4 model year run, and in its first year only sold 4 units. So I'm not going to call it necessarily a commercial success, at least in America, that is. After that 4 model year run of the Toyota Stout, Toyota would send over their Toyota Hilux trucks, but they decided that the name wasn't really great for the American market. Now, I, to this day, don't quite know if it's Hilux or Helix, but probably for dumb Americans like myself, Toyota was like, they can't handle the name of this vehicle, we just need to call it the Toyota Pickup. Really exciting name. And when Toyota brought over this truck, it was a commercial success, but Toyota wasn't necessarily focusing on the American truck market. But this vehicle started gaining notoriety, first of all, when the Toyota Trekker, which would eventually become the Toyota 4Runner, became so successful, and was viewed as basically indestructible. So Toyota decided that they needed to pay a little bit more attention to the American truck market, especially since we're such truck lovers here. There were rumors of a full-sized pickup truck being released by Toyota. Now, the Toyota pickup was just a compact truck. So jumping all the way up basically 2 sizes to a full-size pickup was something that a lot of people were looking for. There were a lot of rumors circulating about it, but it actually did happen in 1992. Toyota released its first full-sized pickup specifically for the North American market called the T100. Very shortly after this, the Toyota pickup would be updated to the Toyota Tacoma as well. This featured a big Toyota shift to pay way more attention to the truck market, but the T100 kind of was a little bit of a weird vehicle. It shared an engine and a suspension with its compact brother, the pickup, but had an elongated full-sized bed. But as for its overall size, the T100 would fall in between the largest mid-size truck at the time, but significantly smaller than the average full-size truck at the time. So it sort of was this big mid-size truck or small full-size truck. And this did kind of create a few issues with its reception. On top of that, although affordable, reliable, and extremely practical, the T100 was entering an extremely hyper-competitive market. It was viewed as not quite big enough. It had the lack of an extended cab, the lack of a V8 engine. It only came with a 3-liter V6, later to be increased to a 3.4-liter V6, and didn't necessarily sell very well. That being said, the T100 did win several awards, including the Best of What's New award from Popular Science magazine. It won the J.D. Power and Associates initial survey of Best Full-Size Pickup, and won several initial quality survey awards. That being said, the T100 kind of struggled along. Even though in 1997, the Toyota Racing Development team did release a supercharged version of it, it really didn't spike sales up that much. So in 1999, for model year of 2000, in the year we would be celebrating the 188th anniversary of the start of the War of 1812, a new version of the Toyota full-sized pickup would be released, initially called the T150, but would later be changed to the Tundra. Let's just say Ford didn't like that the T150 would be really close to the F-150, so there were lawyers involved, and now we have the Tundra. Now, the Tundra, as a name, is a zone of climate signified a place that's quite cold, rugged, and snowy. Although it still has a base 3.4-liter V6 engine, it now did include that 4.7-liter V8 option. The Tundra was bigger and badder, and it was fully submerged into the full-size truck market. Sales in the first year of the Tundra were double that of the T100. It would win Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the year 2000, and it would win Best Full-Size Pickup from Consumer Reports. TRD, or Toyota Racing Development, would be involved again and throw a supercharger into the Toyota Tundra for both the V6 and V8 options. The V8 supercharged Tundra would have around 350 horsepower and around 400 foot-pounds of torque. There it is, our full-sized American Toyota truck. The Toyota Tundra would actually have a good safety rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, which was a first for full-size pickups in America, seeing as Dodge, Fords, and GMCs were all hovering somewhere between the poor and marginal safety ratings. In 2003, a T3 special edition of the Tundra would be released alongside the release of the Terminator 3 movie. And sales would continue pretty darn well until 2007, when the second generation of the Toyota Tundra would be released. Besides a style update, this new generation of the Tundra would have 10,000 pounds of towing capacity and 2,000 pounds of payload capacity. I believe this is the generation of the Tundra that frickin' towed the space rocket thingy. A 5.7-liter V8 option was available, and it had 381 horsepower and 401 foot-pounds of torque. Really interestingly, it had 31 different configurations if you were to take in bed length, cab configuration, engine, wheelbase, and transmission options. And in 2008, that number would actually climb to 44 different configurations, so you really could customize your Tundra for what your needs were. 2010 would bring a platinum trim level edition and a style update, and the third generation Tundra would just come a few years later in 2014. And this featured a style redesign and a completely redesigned interior. And that actually is the generation of the Tundra I'm sitting in right now, which is a 2018 used model here at Fred Haas Toyota Country. It was more luxurious and comfortable. It has a 3.5-inch information screen, new seats, new gauges, new controls, improved ergonomics, updated dashboard, retuned suspension, and a new luxury trim called the 1794, which, coincidentally, is the 18th pre-anniversary of the War of 1812. So the Tundra has carved its place into the full-sized American truck market and has earned it with flying colors. And that has brought us up to where we are today. But I know this is a Toyota History Tuesday episode, but we're going to jump into the Toyota Future History episode and talk about what might be coming in 2022, which would be the fourth generation of the Toyota Tundra. Although I cannot confirm any of the following details, they are heavily rumored and or partially confirmed. So take a look. Likely, the Tundra will adopt coil springs to go with a live rear axle, which would better ride quality. Payload and towing capacity is likely to increase greatly. It may debut with a twin turbocharged V6 engine, may also have a hybrid option. It will likely have a 12-inch information screen, of course, the Toyota Safety Sense, and it may be available around a year from now, and this is of October of 2020. We might be able to see it in fall of 2021. So keep your ears open. Obviously, we don't have any of those models right now, but we're going to be sitting on the 2020 and 2021 models of the Tundra here at Fred Haas Toyota Country. And that brings us to the end of the Toyota Tundra's history and shortly into the Toyota Tundra's future. So I loved talking about this Toyota powerhouse, and thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Mitchell. I'm here at Fred Haas Toyota Country. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.